So let's figure out that moment, that special moment where gaming for you just hit. That moment where you'll never forget it. You know, it was that game, it was that time, the smell, the place, the people you were with. I was very young. I was like 3 or 4 years old. My dad was a freelance graphic designer. He was working for none other than Nintendo. Good old wonderful Nintendo. And we used to share this Game Boy. And I think it's only fitting that I tell the story on Mario Day, March 10th. I mean, it's such a magical time. It just transforms me into just the biggest fan ever. In fact, I have my Game Boy. Let me grab it real quick. Man, holding this thing brings back memories, you know? It's just so magical. It literally just, I feel like it turns me into a completely different person when I hold a Game Boy. And the thing about the Game Boy itself that completely changed my life was the wonder and splendor that I got to share with my own dad. I mean, if only you could see me now. For those of you who are listeners only, I'm not even going to acknowledge it. You got to see what's going on stream, because it's a little bit, or not on stream, on the video, because it's a little bit ridiculous. It's a little bit ridiculous the lengths that I go for my excitement about Mario. Now, I know it comes as no surprise because I even have this giant thing of Mario Party dice, which, you know what, we're going to roll the Mario Party ones. Let's go for it. What do we have today? We have 4, which is going to be, what is it? Smoke? Yes. I dressed up as Mario. I love it. I adore it. It's so much fun. And I'm going to drink some coffee. If you want to watch me play Mario games today, I'm live right now. Yes, I'm live over on twitch.tv/JDXCoffee, and that is something that I'm doing for Mario Day, March 10th. The first Mario game I played back in the day was Super Mario Land 1 and 2. So the first one ever actually was Super Mario Land 2. My dad and I shared that game. Oh, I don't even have the scale on. We shared that game, and we played back and forth. He would have save file 1, and I would have save file 3. I've always used, or the last one, I've always used the last save file as part of the thing that I've done. Some people made a really, really cool thing, which is like you use the last save file so that you don't accidentally delete it if you're like pressing around and not paying attention, because it's really hard to accidentally delete the last save file. And I think that's a really good point, but I don't accidentally delete save files because I, for one, don't delete save files. I've never done that. Never been a problem. Never been an issue. Now, something that has always stuck in my mind isn't just the fact that my pops and I used to share that game. It's that my dad and I got to experience a very magical device called the Nintendo 64. We got to use the Nintendo 64 before it released. My dad, his friend, worked for Nintendo. And since my dad was freelance for a while with Nintendo, he got to get some discounts from time to time. I would get often, because we weren't financially in the best of spots, but I would get second-hand or refurbished or cosmetically flawed Nintendo products. My Game Boys would have dings in them or whatever, but my parents would be able to afford it because everything functionally is fine, but maybe there's a scratch on the back, or the back plate's a different color, something like that. End of life sales, warehouse sales, stuff like this. So my devices, for me, it never really mattered. They always felt special because they were unique and different from everyone else's. But I was the cool kid on the block because I did have the Super Nintendo before other people did. But the Nintendo 64, the very, very device, this controller, the Trident controller, I remember so strongly and vividly when that entered into my life. So first things first, we had a friend who will remain unnamed, and he came over to our place, and he was like, I have something to show you. When I was a kid, we got to try out I don't know what production model it was. So it was pre-production, whatever it may be. And you know what? My memory is flexible, and I choose to remember it this way. It may have been already something that was okay to be released, but he brought over this device. He said, I'm going to go set it up in your den. You can't go in there. We're going to do this. Cool. And I was like, okay, what's going on, Dad? He goes, I don't know. He's got some cool stuff. So he sets it up in the den. I walk in there, and he hands me this controller. Now, up until this point, the only controller that I knew was either this one or this one. These are the only 2 controllers I knew. I was a diehard Super Nintendo fan. Played all the games on Super Nintendo. And he hands me that Trident with a thumbstick. I had never seen a controller so crazy before. It was so bizarre. And so he hands it to me and he goes, all right, well, let's boot up the game. And the very game, do I have it down there? I don't have it on. The very game he boots up is Super Mario 64. Now, I, already a very huge Mario fan, massive Mario fan, was like, dude, my boy in 3D, this guy in 3D, it's like going from this guy to this guy. That was a big deal. My favorite game of all time being Super Mario World, and now playing Super Mario 64, stretching his face in the file menu. My dad, of course, chooses A, and I choose D. We're playing Super Mario 64. I would watch my dad struggle through Super Mario 64, and then I myself would go and play Super Mario 64 and struggle, but get after it. Mario as a whole, I realize I'm looking at my screen here, not there. Mario as a whole has always had a special place in my heart. I've never cosplayed before. I've never cosplayed as anything. I like Link, I like Zelda, but I've never dressed up as Link, and certainly not Zelda. And here I am in overalls. I literally shaved my beard off just for this video. Yes, there's some scruff because there's no way I'm going down to skin because I got sensitive skin. And so I got to keep some scruff on there. But I just adore Mario. And there's something so whimsical about the Mario games. Recently, I've been playing through Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury over on stream. My thing on stream is I'm 100%ing some of these Mario games just to experience the splendor again. I think that when it comes to playing Nintendo titles, I like playing through them, but I want to play through some of them in their tedious entirety. And that's something that is like just a fun little thing for me to do. So I'm going through these games and these titles, and I'm feeling these nostalgic feelings. It feels so good. And I realize over time that I've been playing, I just finished Elden Ring. I finished Elden Ring and the DLC for Elden Ring. Incredible experience. I clocked 70 hours almost on the nose. Final boss in the DLC, without naming any names, took me about 45, maybe 50 tries, a couple hours worth. It was very, very challenging, but I enjoyed the experience because it reminded me of a time when I used to try and try again. You see, games nowadays are a little bit different, not all of them, but some of them, the ones I've gravitated towards, try and try again isn't necessarily a part of the baked-in experience. Playing Final Fantasy games, some of the newer ones, try and try again doesn't happen all that often. In fact, it doesn't really happen at all. And with the older ones, it was a game over, very different mechanic. But with Mario, I believe that Mario is one of the first Souls games. You see, you would have an experience with a level. That level would continue to play out however you see fit. And as you're playing through that level, you are going to encounter a tremendous amount of adversity. Let's just put it there. Now, with that adversity, enemies, Goombas, whatever it may be, sometimes it's a cheap shot. You go to jump over something, and then all of a sudden something else shows up. You get a last life, and then you got to start over. But what it is it's learning a progression. Okay, there's going to be the enemies here. We're going to try this. We're going to do that. We're going to jump over. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. And as you get to play the game more and more and more, you feel those elements of progression take place. You feel the learning of the levels, learning of the enemies. Yes, some of them are easier than others, but as the game progresses, it does challenge you in new ways. You got to pick up this item. You can only do it if you turn here, jump over there. This is an element of learning applied to games. We talked about it in one of the cups before. And I, for one, adore that experience. I've always adored that experience. And I have found myself flying through some of these older Mario titles just to want to slow down, to look at the scenery and enjoy the music and the nostalgia all over again. My guy Mario's got it going on. And today, March 10th, Mario Day, I'm celebrating. Now, of course, this story isn't just about me and my experience, but rather extrapolating it and applying it to other things, you and your experience. I want to know in the comments you and your experience with gaming in general, but there is this feeling of video games that we all have grown so close to. We find ourselves drawn to specific genres, titles, characters. And the reason probably is because we've grown up playing these genres, these games, playing as these characters. But there are specific elements of this thing, there are specific elements of this gaming space that I think maybe gets glanced over. There is a huge push for performance, for equipment. I myself have found myself looking at gear, this, that, and the other, and losing the element of experience. I've talked at great length about experience. I think the experience of gaming is really what is the special magic sauce. Most of all, when it comes to playing video games, it is the ones that treat you, the gamer, like you are supposed to be playing it, not like you are supposed to be watching it. I have grown kind of tired of some of the games that have come out only because I feel like I'm just pressing A to continue, and the game itself just doesn't really want to be played, whether it's performance issues or worse yet, the game itself is just all cutscenes. It's for somebody. It's just I know that I didn't grow up playing games like that. And it's odd to me that when times get challenging, when I start to feel a little bit stressed, I fly to not only games I've played before, but these experiences that get out of the way of themselves. The Mario games have cutscenes. It's the beginning of the game. You see the friends doing something, and then all of a sudden, boom, Bowser shows up and ruins the day. Yeah, kind of silly. But it's always the same thing. Some call it repetitive. Some don't even enjoy Mario games, and that's fine. You don't have to enjoy Mario games. You might be a first-person shooter person, and this just isn't for you. I totally get it. To each their own. But for me, the magic that is in these types of titles is not just the gaming experience itself, though. For me, I do enjoy it. But it's everything that comes with it. It's the history of the games in themselves, starting with just a very simple left to right. You couldn't even go back, to introducing new items, different ways to play, all of a sudden bigger 3D universes, full 3D, different areas like Mario 64, where you actually have an overworld coming into different games, pushing the boundaries of specific levels, or not levels, but just perspective with the 3DS, and then eventually back to the handheld form factor, re-releases as well as full-fledged new releases on the Nintendo Switch. Super Mario Wonder, rather. I was going to say Sunshine. Super Mario Wonder, a game that I think is one of, if not the greatest Mario games of all time, is one that reminded me of why I like Mario games. It breaks the rules when it comes to how you observe and play a specific type of games. Mario as a whole has been a platformer, whether it's 2D, 3D, or anything in between, but Super Mario Wonder did the thing that Super Mario World and then Super Mario 3D World and then Mario 64 did. It broke the form a little bit. You started going left to right, and then you can go right to left if you would like, and then the game goes, no, let's go vertical. Let's go up. And so the game itself, you have to move vertically. That's fine. That's not absurd. I mean, Super Mario Odyssey, there are levels where you're moving vertically. I mean, even in Kirby's Forgotten Lands, and the Forgotten Land, whatever you want to call them, you move vertically through the level. But because what happens if instead of moving left to right, up to down, we now took you and moved you in this direction on the plane itself? You shift perspective. That, for me, the Wonder Seed and how it changes the way that the game plays was such a awe-inspiring moment. It was the wonder. I mean, the name for it at first, I'm like, really? Super Mario Wonder? Yeah, there was wonder and splendor and whimsy all in one. So I give it to them. Cheers to you, Nintendo, with Super Mario Wonder. I get it. And I know you guys are like, dude, you're just so fanboying over Mario. You know what? I am. And, being a fan, man, overall, it has had a negative connotation. I mean, people are like, fanboy, they just kind of take whatever they give them. You know what? No. I'm choosing to be excited about something. I'm choosing to love a franchise. I'm choosing to adore an experience. I'm choosing to be so emphatic about it that as a 36-year-old father of 2 children and husband to 1 wife, who is not excited about the mustache, I didn't warn her, I'm dressing up as Mario. Yeah. That's how much I absolutely adore this series. I would, as a man, dress up as Mario. Arguably one of the coolest fellas out there. I mean, a real G. Now, Mario himself, or this series, isn't the only thing that I love about Nintendo games. I do love Zelda. I do love that. But most of all, what I love is that the gaming itself is meant to be shared with those around you. Nintendo, from their heart and soul, have always been focused on that experience with others. And for me, I have always found that to be the pinnacle of gaming. How can I experience this story, multiplayer, whatever, with others? Now, with children, I find myself running to those experiences. Again, I just recently got through a 70-hour playthrough of Elden Ring, a fantastic experience. Yesterday, so I'm recording this Sunday, so Saturday, my wife, gracious, goes, you can have the morning. until nap time to yourself. I literally closed the door and for 8 hours played Elden Ring. Woke up at 6. No, I woke up earlier than that, 5. I played Elden Ring for a very long time yesterday. I loved it. After I was done, I felt an extreme source of accomplishment because I finished the game and it was great. But I can't help but have also feelings of like, what would it feel like to play that with my daughter, with my son, Mario, Kirby, these 2-player experiences that exist. And so I now run to that. My best bud texted me, who has been playing Tears of the Kingdom with his son. He goes, this experience is incredible. Tears of the Kingdom isn't inherently a 2-player game, but you can, as a parent, figure out how to 2-player anything. Just, it's part of being a parent. And that whimsy, that joy, that splendor is a magic sauce that is incapable of being captured anywhere else. I, for one, am not only looking forward to see whatever the Switch 2 has to offer, but look forward to experience more of those with you guys over on twitch.tv/JDXCoffee. As I play more video games and get excited about some of the newer titles that I've been playing on my PC, I remember that there is a special something that exists with something that we call Nintendo. And for me, I just can't help but be emphatic about it. I've already used that word once. I can't help but be enthusiastic about it, excited about it. And if you're enthusiastic and excited about video games, if you like some Nintendo titles, join me over on stream. Have fun here. I'm excited to talk about some of those stories. I have some cool things I've been sent that I want to show off to you guys. So those will be coming in forms of reviews and normal videos. And these cups, love making them. They will, of course, continue on. I hope you enjoy your March 10th. You enjoy your video games. Have fun with them. Enjoy what you like. If you like Mario, play Mario. If you like Dragon Quest, play Dragon Quest. If you like Call of Duty, play Call of Duty. If anything, on March 10th, Mario Day, I think the one thing we should take away from a day like this is not that Mario, this is his day, that rather us as gamers like playing video games. So enjoy what you play and play it. And don't spend time talking or even trying to figure out why you don't like something. Just move on. Life's too short. Enjoy it. All right. You guys are awesome. Have a good rest of your day. Join me over on stream, twitch.tv/JDXCoffee as I play through Mario games. All right. I'm going to see you guys later. And as always, play more. Be kind. See ya. Did I do good? Did I do good? I hope I did good. You guys proud?